class, in this video I want to show you how you can use the CRAP test to break down a web page and assess whether or not it's appropriate as a source for an essay. So I want you to imagine a scenario. Imagine that you're writing an essay about how people's online avatars reflect their offline identities. You've done a web search looking for particular sources, and you've come across this article on the New York Times Magazine. What do our online avatars reveal about us? You think that the source might work, but you want to conduct a more detailed assessment of it to make sure that it isn't crap, that it isn't going to compromise your ethos. So you decide to put it through the CRAP test. The first element you want to look for is currency. How up to date is it? In this particular case, it's important that you're using up to date information since internet culture changes so fast. The internet is constantly evolving and changing. And so you really want to make sure that you're using pretty up-to-date information. So in the case of this particular website, you're in luck. As you can see over here, it was published on May the 10th, 2016. And so it was created easily within the last 2 years. As a result, it would get a 3 on the rubric. The next element you want to think about is relevance. In other words, is this information you need for the topic? Is it enough information? If you read through the article, you'll find there are a couple of passages where the author talks about the relationship between herself and her avatar. She talks, for instance, about how she presents herself differently across a range of sites. And she says that she doesn't particularly know why she selected these avatars as her representative. Likewise, at the end, she talks about how avatars on social networking might be representations of the real person, but are often idealized versions. So some of this is going to be useful for how people's online avatars map to their offline identities, but it's not going to be all of the information we need. So we probably want to give it a 1 or a 2, depending on how much more detail we think we need. Next up, we're going to want to look into authority. We're going to want to find out more about the author, about whether or not they're qualified to talk about the subject. So, based on what the article tells us, we know that Amanda Hess is a David Carr Fellow at the New York Times. Now, that's actually not going to tell us a whole lot about her. So we're going to need to do a little more digging into who she is. And we may find that we want to do a Google search for Amanda Hess, New York Times, and see what we can find out about her. Well, as it turns out, she has an online website. She also has a LinkedIn. Let's start with her online website. So we're told that she's reported on online culture, teenagers, gender, and sex. We're told that she's written about women and internet culture. That doesn't really tell us whether she's an expert or not. She's someone who's written a lot about it, but is she qualified? So we may actually find we want to look at her LinkedIn. We discover that she's been a reporter, a staff writer, a lifestyle editor, a columnist. We also discover information about her education. She has a BA in English and Creative Writing from George Washington University. So, although although she's someone who may have written quite a bit about online culture, she doesn't necessarily have a lot of education in it. She hasn't necessarily conducted advanced research in it. She's primarily a writer, a journalist. So we probably want to rate her authority about a 2. She's named, but her degree of expertise doesn't exactly meet academic standards. Likewise, when it comes on to accuracy, we're wanting to look for the source of her information. We're wanting to look for citations. And this is often actually where a lot of online articles are going to fall down. If you look through Hess's article, she doesn't give a lot of sources for her information. She does cite 1 or 2 people, 1 or 2 texts that she's quoting, but doesn't go into a lot of detail. She doesn't give, for instance, MLA or Chicago citations. As a result, we probably want to rate it a 1 or so. There's vague reference to the information source, but not a lot of specific detail. The last element we need to look for then is purpose. Here we're looking for whether the information is fact or opinion, whether it's presenting a point of view, whether it's promoting a product, whether it's biased. Now, this particular article would be classed as an op-ed. So it's an opinion piece, an editorial piece. As a result, it gives the author's particular subjective take on a topic. So, as a result, we probably again want to rate it a 1 or a 2. It's an opinion piece. It tries to back up that opinion with evidence, but it's not ultimately about presenting information in a neutral, objective, academic fashion. So hopefully that gives you some idea of what you need to be thinking about when you look at your classmates' web pages. As always, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me. I'm very happy to provide more help and guidance. Okay, talk to you soon. Bye.